Okay. So Amy is joining us from Mediclinic. She's in the infrastructure project office, and she's kindly agreed to share her use of the interactive boards in PPO. I'm going to hand over to you, Amy. You happy to share your screen?
Yes,
Okay,
thanks.
perfect.
Good morning all. Just to give you a bit of background as to where I fit into Mediclinic, obviously as Taryn Lee said, it's a infrastructure department. So I typically work with the projects where I'm an architect and I've got a team below me, and also are involved with over 18 of our facilities across the country. So how I PPO for me is a great platform in the sense that I can, my team, which is 3 people across a lot of projects, I can have everything on one spot. And when, I'm sorry to know that the boards have been around for a year, but I got to use them just recently. But I just, from an architectural point of view and a design point of view, I found it a lot easier to visualize where and what and how much load there was in each of my team members, um, like what sort of load they had on each of the projects or anything else like that. So I specifically work with actions and with IRS. So in our world, actions are dealt with basically giving people instructions or receiving instructions within our company. So between project managers or between my interior designers and my architectural technologists or anybody else within our department. They give an instruction or an action to complete something or do something. And then obviously it's grouped per project. And then an IRS in our world is an information required schedule. So this typically is done between projects. So this is when consultants, outside parties ask us for information as in the client, or the client issues information to the consultants. So I'm just going to show you how with the actions, this is between my team and I that we go through every day. So the one thing I like about it is that I can see what's open. Um, color and structure for me is obviously my life, so I tend to read it a lot easier. And I find that by being able to group and see what criteria it is, to be able to see what's overdue and what's not, and percentage worked and that sort of stuff, and then be able to just quickly slide it across to say it's waiting dependency without having to change anything, or slide it back again, or go in and make a quick edit on changing on who it is or what sort of information needs to happen to it, instead of opening it all the time it and finding another tab, and then you get lost on another tab and another tab and another tab, and it goes down. So weekly, my team and I go through our actions. I can show you on this one, our system of RMAD and non-RMAD is basically all in-house sort of stuff that we work with, the facilities of doctors' rooms and that sort of stuff. So this is one way to keep track of how much my team has on their plate, who has the most, how can they help each other, and what's happening, and then they can also move it across. And basically every week we go through a process of going through and having a look at each of the structures and moving them across into each thing. So if I move that across, then my team member who's in charge of that will say, okay, great, it's complete, we can understand that now. So that's actions. When it comes to projects, pretty much the same. Also with projects, what's nice is that quick editing tool, one could see that it's to another consultant, one needs to follow up with them. I can follow up by the person that's requested it, who works with me as to why things are taking so long, but also, just to be able to slot it along or move it along easily enough. As I say, not a million tabs going over and over and over like that. But I found I think in the last 6 months or so, I can't really remember currently, but in the last 6 months or so, my usage of PPO is actually increased because of the boards. I just find it so much easier than going into the actual lists and seeing line by line by line. I prefer seeing the boards that I can quickly shuffle across and throw people out and do bits and pieces. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a bonus. We don't have other elements of we don't work directly with contractors. That's our consultants. So then they've got their own system on it as well. And also color coding is also my thing as well. I love it. I can't think of anything else, Taryn Lee. I think I
That's
covered all of it.
perfect.
Was it? I don't know if anybody had any questions.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if anyone had any questions for Amy.
Amy, I don't know if Taryn disclosed it to you, but we found that you're one of the top 5 users internationally of the board view, which is why we approached you. So thanks for the support of it. Even though you haven't known that it's been around for a long time, you're still up there on the leaderboard.
I tell you, I loved the change. When I saw it, my whole entire way of managing my team changed instantly. Absolutely, like within a week it changed. They also found that they could also visualize it a lot easier. So no, it's great.
And for those of you that have been PPO users for a long time, the inline editing that Amy was talking about, that ability to drag and drop it and the ability to just click and change a date, you're going to see a lot more of that coming up on PPO as well. We did a back-end technical change. We thought, let's use it on the boards first because that's obviously the most intuitive.
Yes.
I was actually at a workshop this morning at a client and I demonstrated dragging it, and the PMO manager said, does that actually change the status? I said, yes. And he was a bit ashamed that he actually figured out today for the first time that you can actually drag a risk or an issue from open to closed, and it updates it and it's done, and the person gets the email and all the rest of it. And just remember as well, I mean, Amy showed you there on the actions and what they do with the IRSs. You can apply this to anything. So we've got clients who do portfolio reviews and they use the demand entity for, or the pipeline entity for ideas on projects. And when they agree to start projects, they move it from proposed to approved. So you can apply those board views to tasks and risks and projects and issues and actions and any one of them. So we've specifically built that functionality in a way that you can apply to all your data. It sounds silly, but you can board view your resources if you wanted to. So we've made it generic to support that Kanban approach, but across anything. You don't have to only apply it to sprint tasks or tasks. You can apply it to risks or issues, or as you saw now, IRSs. So yeah, I think a useful way to do that. Any other questions?